And I remember sitting with them and I said, we have two options.
Yeah.
We can be victims or we can be survivors. And I said, what do we choose as a family? And we all looked at each other and said, we're survivors. I said, I will never allow Bill, my stepfather, to take all of our lives too, because that's what he wanted.
Welcome back to Mind Jump Magazine, and today's guest is Jennifer Gaydos Hartman, and she was one of the Real Housewives of Dallas, and she's really making change and impact on mental health, trauma, and she's a real advocate. So welcome. So today's guest is Welcome back to Mind Jump Magazine, and today's guest is Jennifer Gaydos Hartman, and she was one of the Real Housewives of Dallas. And she's really making change and impact in mental health, and she's a trauma advocate. So Jennifer, welcome. So Jennifer, we are so excited. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of Mind Jump.
Oh, thank you. And where are you now, Jennifer? Where are you based? Because I know you're in Dallas, and like, where are you? Where are you?
Dallas and LA. I go back and forth. Today, currently, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Ah, that is one of my bucket lists as well, Texas, because I don't know if this is real, but obviously when we used to watch it on TV, you'd have like all the horse ride, and I'm really into horse riding and love that, and the ranches. Is it like that?
It is. So I actually grew up on a horse farm in Pennsylvania.
Oh
my mom trained horses, and I've rode my entire life, and my daughter does too. So in Dallas, you don't see much of it. You have to go to Fort Worth. So when you come visit me in Dallas, we'll go to Fort Worth, and you can see all the cowboys with their cowboy hats and big buckles.
Oh my God, it's like a dream come true.
You know, who doesn't mind, a man in a hat and boots?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God. You must have the best time there. But I'm more about the horses. I'll be just like, oh, I love horses anyway. And yeah, wow.
Well, we are your place for horses. So when you're ready, come visit me in Dallas, Texas. I have a room waiting for you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. So your childhood then, that sounds like really, like to grow up on a horse ranch and that. What was your childhood like?
So it was later on. So my early childhood was very traumatizing. And in my book, Tomorrow's Not Promised, I really start from the beginning of my life. Yeah. So I grew up in a small town. My parents got divorced when I was very young. And then they both of my parents were married 3 times. They were on their third marriages. Their second marriages were really the traumatizing factors in my life. So my mom got into a very emotionally and physically abusive relationship. And then my father was suffering from substance use. He was an alcoholic, is an alcoholic, and married a woman that was an alcoholic. And so childhood was really hard for me. I didn't have a safe space at either home. So my grandparents were really my saving grace. Yeah. But once they both got remarried into their third marriages, third time's the charm, I guess. My mom really, her and I, our dream was to have a horse. So we bought a horse, and it just kind of built up from there. And my mom owned a beautiful farm. And it was so serene and beautiful. And we would go on our horseback rides, and then we start showing horses. And then you know how it is. Once you get into it, it kind of gobbles you up. And it was just that part of my life was really, really amazing. So two of my favorite things to do is to go horseback riding by myself. And my second is to go skiing. Skiing's like such a passion of mine.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so sorry that you went through, my goodness, that was a lot of trauma to go through. And as a child, how long was that for? Was that like, from like 0 to 10 or, because that's shaping you as well, like the ages from 0 to 7, that's shaping who you are and the atmosphere and like That's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. It was until I was about 13 years old. From birth
Yeah.
to to 13. Even when my parents were together, I was very young, and the memories that I do have of them
Yeah.
is very toxic and fighting and yelling and screaming. So I was continuously dysregulated.
Yeah.
And my saving grace was even at that young of an age, I really dove into therapeutic things that I didn't at the time know they were. So I would be journaling, and I really kept to myself, but I knew if I made really good grades and stayed out of trouble, someday I could get out of that small town and really live the life that I dreamed of and I knew that I deserved. And that's it, the book. That's one of the main purposes of it is you can go through all these trials and tribulations, but it is up to us what life we sculpt for ourselves and what our ambitions are and our dreams are. So I'm here to tell anyone listening that is going through a hard time and you think, God, I can't get through this. You can, and you will.
Yeah. That's as you say, because it's tough, isn't it? It's not easy when I mean, I was in a relationship with an alcoholic, and I don't like drinking now, and kind of I mean, I haven't drunk for 3 years, but it's kind of like it's not triggering. It used to be, and I couldn't be around alcohol. I hated it, and I just did. You know, from that young age, from like 13, did you kind of? I suppose it's really difficult because you don't know any different. I suppose I had like my family, I mean, they'd have like their one glass of wine at night and it would kind of be like that. But it was very different. I didn't really even have an issue with alcohol. But then once it was in that relationship, I hated it. I hated alcohol. I didn't want to be around it.
Well, I am sober. I do not drink. I chose that life because I saw what alcohol did to my father.
Yeah.
He would never admit that he is an alcoholic, but he's a functioning alcoholic. And I seen what it did. So it scared me. But I can say this, when I lost my mother in the murder suicide in the hands of my stepfather, I did at one point start drinking a glass of wine every night, and one glass led to two glasses. And then I had a failed suicide attempt. And that was my aha moment. And so I haven't touched alcohol since, and I never will. And I think, people don't look at alcohol as a drug. It is a drug.
Yes.
It is a drug. And so it's about making that conscious decision of not putting myself in that situation. And honestly, I don't miss having a hangover.
Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely.
Like I see people, like I'll talk to even some of my girlfriends. They're like, "Oh, I had 2 martinis last night. I have the worst hangover." And I don't have an addictive personality. Thank God. Thank God I didn't inherit that trait from my father.
Yes. Yeah.
I believe in my own sense. My sister did inherit that. And I just, in working in this field, my background is psych nursing and I work in addiction and mental health, and I'm helping people work through to stop drinking and stuff. So I think seeing it, that's enough for me. I want no parts of it.
And that's the thing. I think it is the culture as well, isn't it? I like growing up when we was young, like it was like cool to drink, and if you wasn't drinking, and I remember a friend of mine saying to me, "Oh, you're boring if you don't drink." I'm like, "Well, actually, I didn't mean it in a nice way, but I thought, well, you're boring because you just get really pissed and repeat yourself 10 times." So, so like.
Exactly. And, I never was a big drinker, but, you would go out for girls' night. And I remember you'd wake up the next day like, "Oh, shit. What did I do? What did I say? Oh, God, don't even let me open my phone. Who did I What did I do?" And so my partner, Philip, and we are sober. We love life that way. And I don't judge anybody that likes to have a cocktail here and there, but it's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good if you know if you can have one or two and you can stop. I wasn't, I must admit. Yeah, if I drink, I'd binge. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
so
I would say that for myself. I didn't know when to stop. I'd be like, I'm going to have a drink, and then I'd be four drinks in, and
yeah,
and you just out of your mind. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
have just made that decision that we have one life to live, and
yeah.
I want to cherish every second that God keeps me on this earth. And drinking for me is not part of the equation.
Yeah, no, same here. So, and I have to say, I'm so sorry, and I can't even imagine what you went through, with your mum.
Mhm.
Are you okay to talk about
Oh,
that and how
absolutely.
how you
Absolutely.
felt? And what age were you as well, Jennifer, when this happened?
It was 6 years ago. So I was 37 years old when she
Yeah,
died. And let me say this, my mom went from that second marriage that was so toxic
yeah,
to then being with my stepdad, Bill. They were boyfriend and girlfriend since second grade. So they would date on and off.
yeah,
So when my mom got with him, I
yeah,
finally had a good family unit.
yeah,
And my stepfather was an amazing stepdad to me. I mean, he was the father figure in my life.
yeah,
I never in a million years thought he was capable of doing something like this. And I'm just going back a little bit. I
yeah,
had a stepsister. He had one daughter, my
yeah,
sister Heather, and she died tragically during a surgery in 2001. And that's really obviously we started to see that decline, which is normal. He was
yeah,
grieving. We all were grieving. And
yes,
then my other sister and I start having children. We got married, we had kids, and the grandkids, I think, kind of filled that void at
mm,
the moment.
yeah,
But then I would say probably in 2019,
yeah,
end of 2018, we really started to see the signs and symptoms. So I'm living in Manhattan Beach, California. They're in Uniontown, Pennsylvania.
yeah,
My mom was calling me in 2019 going, Bill hasn't spoken to me in a few days. And I'm like, Mom, this isn't normal. Like,
yeah,
guys, we need to, you guys should be going to therapy. We need to see what's going on with him. And then we really started to see the withdrawal and him disconnecting and lack of interest and every sign and symptom you can think of that
yeah,
there's something going on. And we had multiple conversations. And in October 2019, I actually flew back home to do an intervention. And I remember sitting across from my stepfather,
yeah,
and there was nothing in his eyes. Like it was like I didn't recognize who it was. And
yeah,
my mom was up at the farm with my daughter feeding the horses. And I
yeah,
remember stepping outside, calling her, and I said, he needs help. And
yeah,
she said, Jenny, she was the only person in my life that called me Jenny. And
yeah,
she said, Jenny, he's not going to get the help. And I went back inside and I remember he was on the couch
mm,
and I sat on the coffee table in front of him and I shut the TV off and I said, Dad, I love you. And he
yeah,
said, I love you too. And I said, we need to get you some help. And he said, I am fine. And he got up, he gave me a hug and gave me a kiss on my cheek. And that was the last time I ever seen him alive.
oh my goodness, yeah,
So my mom and I really had a heart to heart.
yeah,
And it was my mom was very private. So she wasn't sharing the gruesome details,
yes,
the physical abuse that was going on. Now, remind you, I never heard my stepfather yell. He
yeah,
was so soft, so kind. But there was physical abuse going on, mental abuse. There was that control, financial control.
yeah,
And she said, I'm going to leave him and I'm going to move to LA with you in June. And when I went in October, I remember sitting in the kitchen with her and I said, just come back home with me. And
yeah,
she said, I have to wait. And, she drove my daughter Gianella and I to the airport. And that was the last time I ever saw her again.
Oh, oh, Jennifer. Yeah, my legs have gone cold.
Yeah.
Um, I am so sorry. My goodness. And
It's the unimaginable. And what's really hard is when a murder suicide happens and he left a suicide note for us on her feet. Um, the way that he did it, there was no remorse. We had the ring cameras that picked up the audio. I mean, it is the video outside, but the audio, and he had no remorse for what he did. And I think that's the hardest part, is because I can hear him. Um, and even he shot her twice. The first time that he shot her, you can hear him yelling over her body. And then he put her in bed and shot her again. And then he shot himself. And the hardest part of it is that my kids are the ones that found him. My two older boys were there, not at the house, thank goodness. My youngest son, Preston,
yeah,
he arrived home about 15 minutes after my stepfather killed himself. So I live with those thoughts too. What if he would have been there? Would he have killed my son? My other son, Cole, they were in town, but he wasn't there either. So, I really had to be a support system to my three children, number one, and kind of put myself back. But when it happened, I remember sitting in my parents' living room, and the murder scene was still upstairs. And because here in the States, they don't clean it up. You have to hire a company to come and it takes a few days. Yes, they don't clean anything up. And I remember sitting with them and I said, we have two options. We can be victims or we can be survivors. And I said, what do we choose as a family? And we all looked at each other and said, we're survivors. I said, I will never allow Bill, my stepfather, to take all of our lives too, because that's what he wanted. So I've really taken this tragedy and made it into purpose.
Yes.
And I always say, I am her voice, and her is my mother, Teresa Marie. I am her voice.
I'm going to say Jenny now, because I'm literally getting I've never had that. My whole body has gone goosebumps and hair's standing up. She is, oh my goodness, she's definitely
She's with us. She is with us.
She is. When you said that, I can't, my legs are frozen. And it's summer now, it's warm here, and my legs are frozen. Well, some of it's late spring. My legs are frozen. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I turned this tragedy into purpose to be a voice, to break the stigma. I always say if it was 10 years ago, people would not be listening because of the stigma. People didn't talk about the trauma that they have endured. In my book as well, I talk about my dad's second wife's son molesting me. And he did that for many years. That's why I said I didn't have a safe space at either of my parents' homes. And my grandparents really came in and protected me and were my biggest cheerleaders. So I'm here to talk about all things. And that is what this book is about, is let's remove the shame.
Yes.
And I want someone to pick this book up and go, gosh, I went through that. Or God forbid, I'm going through that now. And it's kind of a guide of how I navigated through those things. That doesn't mean it's going to work for every reader.
Yeah.
But hopefully it gives you some encouragement.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're definitely a massive inspiration, and the encouragement and the courage you've had to, and the things you've had to face. No child should face that. And as you say, you are a voice for your mum. You really are. But how old were your children then? Because obviously you said they were like going back to the home, and that must have been hard even as a parent. So
Oh,
you're trying to get over that emotion. Your mum's upstairs, she's
yeah.
shot, and you're dealing with your children. I don't know how you mentally.
Yeah. My son Preston was in ninth grade and my son Cole was a senior.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and my daughter, gosh, I think maybe she was around 7. And that was the hardest part too,
yeah,
was you never want your kids to be the ones, we all experience things, but to be there and
yeah,
find them, you know, it was so hard because I had to put my feelings and my emotions. They kept me together because
yeah,
I knew I had to be their rock. Now that being said, I told you I had a failed suicide attempt, and I got to that point. The first 6 months was really hard. So once we buried them and I'm back home and I'm trying, we're all in therapy a few times a week.
yeah,
My kids were feeling very down and depressed and suicidal ideations. I mean, my mom kept our family together.
yeah,
And I remember at night, I would go in the kitchen because it was the farthest room from the kids.
yeah.
And I would pour myself a glass of wine and I would sit on the kitchen floor in a ball crying. Like, my mom was my best friend. We talked, 10 times a day. How am I supposed to go on with life not
Yeah.
having her? And in that meantime, my mom took care of my grandmother, who helped raise me. And
Yeah.
I took over being her caretaker. So, life switched in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
roles.
And so I remember going away with my best friend Katie and some other friends to Cabo. And you could go into the pharmacy and buy like any medication. It's not regulated like it is in the US. And I was having night terrors every night. So I bought Xanax.
Yeah.
And I would take a Xanax, and it was my first Mother's Day without her. And I went out with friends and got wasted. And I came home, and the bottle of Xanax was next to me. And I'm like, I'm going to take a few of these to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But throughout the day, I was popping them. So at this point, within a 24-hour period, I had 7 or 8 Xanax in me.
Yeah.
And I got into bed, and thank God, one of my very good friends, Matt, called and he said I didn't sound right, which I have no memory of. And I didn't lock the front door, thank goodness. And he got to my house and I was unconscious.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And I remember waking up in the hospital with IVs all in me. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, you took some Xanax and drank. And that was my aha moment. I thought, how freaking selfish of me, because my kids have lost their grandparents and I'm all that they have left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really when life turned for me. And
Yeah.
there was no looking back at all of that.
God, well, the thing is, as you say in your mind, you can totally understand why you're doing it. As you say, it's so much to process and so many emotions and so much going through your hair. Like, my God, I think you should be so proud of yourself for getting up and standing up and like looking after your children. And it's just unimaginable. I just can't even imagine. And did your real dad? I know you said he was an
Yeah.
athlete, but did he ever step up or come and like try and help?
You know what? I seen him at my mother's funeral.
Yes.
Um, he told me, I want to be here for you.
Mm.
He really abandoned me as a child, and all I craved to have that relationship with him.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him since my mother's funeral. And June 1st of 2020,
Yeah.
I have reached out a few times
Yeah.
with really no response. So I've closed that chapter, I closed that. He made that decision
Yes.
that he doesn't want to be a part of our lives. It's very hurtful.
Yeah.
But guess what? I have gone through life with him really not being there anyways.
Yeah.
And, it's hard because we all crave that relationship with a parent if we don't have it.
Yeah, you do.
But I was blessed with such an amazing mother that raised me. And
Yeah.
my grandmother really shaped who I am today,
Yeah.
that I'm okay with that. That
Yeah.
it's his loss. Like he is missing out
Yeah, he
what
is.
my life and my children's life. Like all of my kids are just so amazing and doing so well. And
Yeah.
my oldest son, is in college where I went to school at Penn State, getting his master's in engineering. And my son Preston owns his own successful company. And my daughter's going into high school and is a straight A student. And like it all works out. It really
Yeah.
does. And like you said about being in toxic, bad relationships,
Mm.
I was carrying that cycle because I watched both of my parents
Yeah.
be in these troubling relationships. And here I am today, and my partner Philip has been like God sent to me. Like I had to go through all the trials and tribulations to find that the prince. So all aspects of my life
Yeah.
could not be any better.
Oh, do you know, it's literally like the awful thing you've gone through, but I'm so glad you got like the fairy tale, you've got the fairy tale and you've got your prince, because
I
my
got my
God, you deserve
prince.
that. Right, you really do. And congratulations on your children and what they've achieved, and how it, you've managed that and you've helped that process, because some parents, and no blame on them, like how do you navigate through that? And you've been strong, you've been strong, and you should be so proud. And I think with your story, it will help others who are going through that traumatic, awful time. So yeah, I'm just sorry you went through it. I really am. But
Well, yeah.
I do believe though, like I do believe, I feel is we come into this planet for a reason, and not everyone, but some of us have to go through different things and traumatic things. But it's there to help others. And I don't, I mean, I'm speaking, but I sort of feel like that's what's happened to you, and you're the voice for, because you're strong, you're going to help others.
Yeah, I do feel that this is my purpose.
Yeah.
I would give anything to have my mother back,
Yeah.
anything in this world.
Yeah.
But the reality is she's never coming back. So while I'm here on this earth,
Yeah.
what can I do? And I will live each day in her honor. And like I said, being her voice
Yes.
and helping families. I work for a top rehab center here in the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
And I enjoy working with families and patients, and everybody I talk to is in crisis because
Yeah.
they're going into rehab or they need help with their mental health. And
Yeah.
it's a tough industry to be in. A lot of people can't do it,
Yeah.
but God built me to do this.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm blessed. I'm very, very blessed.
And I'm glad you've got your partner there as well. As you say, glad you got your bit of a fairy tale at the end. But bless you, but that's so important what you're doing now. And so you're a voice and you advocate. But how did you get from because you was in the Real Housewives of Dallas, how kind of like your career and your work career? How did you, like your jobs and well, how did you sort of get to where you are now? And how on earth did you get on Real Housewives of
Yes.
Dallas?
So when I was 17, I graduated high school. I knew since I was a little girl, when I would be journaling under this tree, that I wanted to get out of that small town, that I knew there was a bigger life for me. So when I was 17 years old, I packed my car up.
Yeah.
My grandmother and I drove to California. And I had the dream of wanting to be an actress and do all those things.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky. I booked a lot of jobs, did some film, but LA spit me up and threw me out. And LA is a very hard place to be, especially when you're that young.
Yeah.
And then I went back home and went to college because I knew I needed to have a degree.
Yeah.
And I was living in New York City raising my kids for many years, and we moved to Dallas. And it kind of just fell on my lap to do it. And I thought, well, let's do it. It'll be fun. At the time, I had a swimwear line named after my daughter, Gianella Swimwear. And so I was like, let's just do it and have fun with it. And so that's how. And now I'm in the process. There's another show, wink, wink, that's not the Housewives, but that's going to be filming in Dallas. So I'm in talks with the network right now of possibly joining that. And I'm going to use that as a platform for mental health and really getting my voice out there as well. So that's kind of how it happens. I had a great time doing it. I'm actually going to be in LA this coming weekend, and I'm going to be filming for Orange County Housewives. I'm going to film with the girls. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds fun. And I'm so pleased for you because, as you say, I think that's going to be a platform, and hopefully the magazine as well is going to be a platform to help you get you out there, because that's what we need, as you say, because you're still just someone reading your story or your book, that's going to help someone. So that's what we want to do, give you more exposure to help to get you out there, because what a story you've been through. And but I'm so proud of you, like of what you've done and what you've achieved, and you're incredible.
Well, I am so excited to be on Mind Jump, and it's such an honor that you believe in my story and my purpose. So I thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And with when you're going through, or when you did go through, I don't know, do you still have like hard times now, like mentally? Because sometimes for me, when I was going through difficult times, I'll be fine, but I just sometimes just have that off day, and I just I don't ever feel like suicidal. I was a long, long time ago. I've done that for years, and I don't ever feel in that position. But I do have down days sometimes, now and again. And for me, I would just put on something funny, eat chocolate, and that make me feel better. But I thought, for anyone listening, what do you do to make you sort of feel better, or to have that good day?
Yeah, so I do have those days.
Yeah.
We're all human. So there's days where, I might see something or read something and it triggers me, or, I'm missing my mom so much. I have those days, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay to have. It is okay not to be okay. It's just not okay not to express it to somebody. And there's times where I'll pick up the phone and I call my partner, Philip, and I'm like, I'm having a really rough day today.
Yeah.
And he's like, keep some time for you. Like, what can I do for you? And it's having that support is so important. Yeah. Or calling one of my girlfriends and going, I just need to cry right now, or whatever it is. But yes, I definitely have those days. They're getting very far and few now. I think, the first 3 years of losing my mom, it was really, really hard for me. Of course, like Mother's Day is very triggering, where I'm seeing everybody, Happy Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day. Christmas is very hard. Hanukkah is hard for me. I'm Jewish. But you get through them. You learn your coping mechanisms. And I think that's what's so important, is if you are feeling, it's okay to go to a therapist. Yes. Listen, I take anti-anxiety medication. I have severe PSD. I have to take medication to sleep at night so I don't have night terrors. Like, all of those things are okay. That doesn't make you tainted or bad, or you're not dealing with it. No, whatever. So what I would say to viewers is, like, whatever works for you, and have no shame. And you don't owe an explanation to anybody. It is about you and your mental health, and you regulating yourself. So, and I love to, something so funny. I found a picture album book this past weekend that I haven't seen in years. And I just sat on the couch flipping through it, laughing, looking at those memories. So pull out those old photos or find a card or a letter that
Yeah.
loved one has written you. And that really brightens my day.
Oh, that's so lovely. And I think, and you're so right. As you said, the days, like as you said, the first 3 years are difficult, but and then there's gaps where you get stronger, and then the gaps get bigger and bigger and bigger that you don't have those relapses. And as you say, like it could be like months or 6 months. I mean, I haven't had one for about a year. I haven't felt, I have a bad day, but I haven't felt really crappy, but they do get longer in them days, and the time, and it just gets better and better. Time is a healer, I believe.
Absolutely, it is. But also, I want to say to anyone listening, if you get in that moment where you really are struggling,
Yeah.
don't think there's something wrong with that
No.
because we all grieve so differently. There
Yeah.
is no linear way to grieve a loss at all.
Yeah.
And I also think it's important if there's listeners that are struggling with their mental health, don't be afraid to get the help that you need as well. There is no shame. Listen, all of us go through trials and tribulations and have times where, we're sad and we're depressed.
Yeah.
And we're struggling. So you're not alone. You are not alone.
No, you're so right. Yeah, you're not alone. And I think, I don't know about in the States, always when we've watched like TV shows and that, and I think it's amazing. Like the US, I love it. And I think that, you're very open to having therapy. But in the UK, it's very much seen as like, oh, there's something really wrong with you. No, there bloody isn't. I've had therapy and it's the best thing ever. And it's just talking therapy. And I feel $1 million when I come out of there, and I think there's nothing wrong with it, but people still see it as a stigma. And you really should. We're so behind in the UK compared to the States. I just think, we need to have that talking therapy.
Yeah, it's a very normal thing here. It's just, you don't even think twice about it. Like, you're in therapy. Okay, is it a great therapist? If it is, can I have the number?
That's what I love. This is what is wrong with the
Yes.
UK. It's not like if you say, oh, I'm going to see a therapist, that it's literally like, what are you doing? And it's like, it should be okay. As you say, it's okay to not be okay. And
Yeah.
everyone's gone through something, whatever it is, and just being able to talk to somebody who's trained is one of the best feelings in the world, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. What's great here, you can do it telehealth. You don't even have to leave your home to do your therapy.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in EMDR. That is a type of therapy. And I do it with my therapist remote. There's like an app now that does it's like crazy how easy it is and accessible it is
Yes.
to do therapy. But yeah, I feel 100% better once I have my 1 hour weekend, and I feel good about it. So we'll break the stigma over there. It is okay to go to therapy.
It's okay, yeah. Everyone go. I go. I'd even send my dogs to it as well. Like when one of my dogs got bitten, and it was like she had massive trauma. I know there's like talking dog therapists, but everyone needs it, I think, and it's a good thing. And it is absolutely. I want to break the stigma, and I think it's important speaking to people like yourself because my God, have you been through the mill? And I think the therapy you can see that you are a shining light and you're here to bring positivity and like it's okay to, as you say, to not be okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I'm happy to be able to talk about that and say,
yeah,
go do it. I mean, after my mom died, I was doing therapy 5 days a week and support groups, and COVID hit at that time. So,
yeah.
you know, people, suicide rates went up because people were at home and not leaving. So it was a really challenging time because we were stuck in our homes. And
Yeah.
then I'm grieving on top of it. So I had all the time in the world to do a lot of therapy.
But good for
It
you.
was
Yeah.
good. It was good.
Bless you. And so now, the future, as you say, you do lots of therapy. You coach people as well. And then and you're doing a TV show, so we will. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
We're in the works of
yeah,
it.
that's exciting. And what else do you have for the future? Or what else would you like to do? So is your book out now, or?
It's not out now. I would say by the end of summer, you will be available to purchase it on Amazon and a few other platforms.
Yes.
So we're finishing up the book right now, which is so exciting. And I'm just so excited to get my story out there, number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say by end of summer, which you will be one of the first to know, and I'll send you a signed copy.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
so I'm hoping by the end of summer we'll have the book ready
That's
to have out there.
exciting. What's it
Yeah.
called? Am I allowed to ask what is it called, Jennifer? Or like, because obviously people watching, they can sort of like maybe can they pre-order or just
Yes. So tomorrow is not promised, and I got that title. My mom came to me in a dream, telling me tomorrow's not promised and live your life to the fullest, and it really just stuck with me.
yeah.
And I said, when I write that book, it's going to be tomorrow is not promised. So it will be out hopefully by August.
Oh my God. And I've got again the shivers. That is your mum. Honestly, I've got shivers again. Wow. Oh my God. That's a really lovely title. And I think that's so important. As you say, your mum came through and talked to you. And that's beautiful. It really is. I love that. And as you say, her voice is still here and it's still heard. That's the most
Yes.
important thing.
And I will scream it from the rooftops. And, I have family members that are, upset because I wrote this book, and I guess it's revealing things that people don't want to talk about. And I said, that's okay, because this is my story and this is what I experienced.
Yeah.
And so I also hope the listeners hear that. Don't be afraid what others may think or people you may lose if they're upset about you sharing what's going on with you. Because at the end of the day, we only have ourselves, and we have to keep us in a good mind, body, and spirit. So don't let that be a silencing factor for yourself.
Yes, and I 100% agree, and I love that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I know that when I wrote my book as well, it's really hard because you don't want to upset people, but as you say, it's your story, and I felt I was put on a planet as well to tell my story, and I wanted people to read it. But as you say, you can't please everyone, and you've got to do what you were put on earth for, and you were definitely put on earth to do this and to tell your story, to help others. And as you say, it's your story. And I always feel the people who aren't meant to be will fall away anyway, and the right people come into your life. So
absolutely. Yeah. When I put out there that I was writing this book and I start doing interviews, and I think they start watching the interviews on my father's side, I got like unfollows and blocks and all of those things. And I'm like, but that's okay. Like, if my story offends you, I'm sorry, but I had to live it. I had to live it. So that is okay with me.
As you say, that's okay. It's your truth, and you had to live through that, and it's okay, as you say. And I think, in as well, do you find as well, like for myself, I didn't love myself, and when I was younger, of what I went through, but now I love myself, and I don't need anyone else to love me. I love me, and I'm fulfilled. And I think that was then the trigger. That's when I sort of grew and changed. And I don't know if that was yourself, like did you love yourself when you was younger, or did you?
Absolutely not. I had so much shame because of what I was experiencing at home.
Yeah.
And then being molested I knew it was wrong, what was happening to me, but I was too afraid because my stepbrother would say to me, your dad will never love you if you tell him this. No one will ever believe you. So as a very young child, you believe that. And that really chips away at your self-esteem and your views on yourself and life. And I would look at my friends having the perfect family.
Yeah.
And I was keeping these secrets because on the outside, I went to private school. I, dressed nice. But nobody really understood how hard it was for me. And I remember thinking as a young kid, God, I just wish I was never born. I wish this wasn't my life. Why? I had that why am I growing up this way when no one else around me is going through this? So yeah, it really beat me down. But now, I had and I always tell this story and it's in the book, if I may, about self-esteem. My mother's second husband was very, very emotionally abusive towards me. And I remember one time he wrote white trash on my arm with a marker. And I was probably maybe 10, 11 years old. And he would always tell me I would never be anything. And he had 4 girls, and then my mom had us. And he really, I was my mom's baby, really pecked at me. And, here I am today. The funny story that I have is he told me I would never be anything in life. And I remember I just bought and it's not about the car. This was just kind of like my aha moment to him. I had a Bentley convertible. And I was living in New York City at the time, but I drove it home and I was at a stoplight and I looked over and it was him. And we locked eyes. He's like in a Toyota car, and we locked eyes and I just smiled at him. Now, fast forward, I ran into him with my daughter 2 years ago. And he came at a restaurant and he walked over to me. And instead of having anger, I thanked him for everything he did to me as a kid. I said, I really want to thank you. Do you remember when you wrote white trash? Of course, he didn't remember. To me, as a kid, it was such a degrading moment. And I said, everything you did to me made me into the woman that I am today. So I thank you. And I think that's how we got to look at life when people wrong us or listen, that only puts fire under me and makes me want to work harder. So I do not believe I would be where I am today if I didn't experience all those trials and tribulations as a child. So I'm very blessed with the life that God has given me, even though it's been very tough. I am a true believer. God only gives you what you can handle. So obviously I must be pretty fucking strong. So
one fucking strong lady. Yeah, my God. I'm like, you are really strong. Like, I am you're so inspiring. You really are. Wow. But you're, if you don't mind, if I could just go back, when you was a child, did you put on a front and a face that like kind of a facade that and I know I didn't let anyone in. I never actually told anyone. And in some ways I should have done. And I know some of my friends now who knew me then, they never knew anything was wrong. And then when I wrote my book and they read it, I was a bit embarrassed actually because I never told them. And then they're like, I never knew this. If I'd have known, I would have helped. But I just couldn't at that age. I suppose I couldn't compute and say it. I didn't know what was going through in my mind. And what I think if I'd have had someone maybe to talk to, but I didn't really.
Same. I kept it very private. I mean, I didn't even tell my sister. I was so ashamed that I did not say anything. Not until, I start speaking on and building my platform. My friends, my childhood friends, and even family was like, I had no idea that this happened to you. And the most ironic part of it is that my dad's family would always be like, is your mom doing this for you? Or that my mom was an amazing mom, and I would stand up to her. And in my mind, I'd be like, no, the really bad stuff is happening when I'm with my dad, your brother, because my stepbrother is molesting me. But I never said anything. So just think of like how heavy that is to carry as a small child.
Yeah.
And then I was afraid no one would believe me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever have like when you went into school, because if he's doing that to you, did you have any like physical marks and that would show? Because I know sometimes, not for me, but somebody else at school, and a teacher would say, "Oh, well, what's that? How did you do that?" And you kind of like you lie and you defend them because you're embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I wasn't physically abused. I was emotionally and sexually. So no, there was no signs or symptoms on my body. I look back, I had a teacher, her name was Miss Bayless. I will never forget her, and Sister Euphemia. And they were my two saving graces. Yes. My fourth grade teacher, I would always stay after school. I would stay and like help the teachers clean up because I didn't want to go home because it wasn't pleasant. So I would hang out even with there was a nunnery house and I would go hang out with the nuns. So I found comfort in them and safety. But really, my grandparents, my grandmother and my grandfather, they were my saving grace.
Yeah.
They really were. And if I didn't have them, gosh, God only knows where I'd be right now. But here I am today. I'm sitting here with you, Lisa, and I feel blessed.
You are, as you say, you totally are. And if anyone watching, if they're a young child going through this, what would you say to them, or to like kind of help them? Because did you ever tell your grandparents or not? No.
No, I didn't tell anybody. I would say to anyone listening that is young, go tell somebody. Tell a teacher, tell a parent, this is not on you. You did nothing wrong. Do not be afraid. The person that is hurting you in any way, shape, or form, they are wrong. And you need to be protected. So tell somebody. And this isn't your fault. That's the most important thing to know. This is not your fault.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Do you think that you should tell? Because it's really hard then as well, isn't it? To trust as well. And because you think someone else, like in the family, you might think, oh yeah, they'd be okay to tell, and sometimes they don't want it to be out there or information. So maybe, as you say, telling a teacher, or I know, like in the UK, we have the police, and you can go in there. And I can't remember the name of it, but you say this word, and then they know that you can talk about that, and they know there's a problem. But even like maybe I don't know how you feel, like if there's someone who's really young who's really struggling. I mean, they can either get in contact with myself, or we can pass people on to them to help, because
absolutely reach out to Lisa. You could reach out to me on DM. I am here to be your voice as well. So I think we really just need to make awareness and say, this is not your fault. Do not feel that it is. And let's get you protected for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Jennifer, do you mind always at the end of the interview, we always ask a quick few fire round questions? Is that all right? So, I can't remember off the top of my head, so I have to read them out because I forget. They get so many. But how do you like to spend your free time?
Oh, with my children. That's my favorite thing to do, is just to be with my kids. Family time is important.
Yeah, 100%. And what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you?
Oh my goodness, the funniest thing that ever happened to me. I was saying one time I was at a speaking event and I had a pair of thongs attached to my dress through static, and I almost went on stage with it, and someone caught it. So that I would have laughed even on stage if it happened. Like, pull, like, here we go.
Yeah, there we go. That's what yeah. Well, at least it was a thong anyway. If that was me, if I've got my big pair of Bridget Jones knickers, I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be mortified. If it was a thong, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm rocking the thong. So, yeah, that's okay. But oh my God, yeah, if you're doing a big presentation and speech, yeah, my God, yeah.
It was funny. I still laugh about it to this day.
Oh, that's very funny. Yeah, like, oh my goodness. And what's your guilty pleasure? What do you like? And I'm a chocoholic. I can't help it.
I am not a sweet eater. I am not a sweet eater.
So
I love dips. Like my fridge is full of dips. Like I'm
Oh
a
my God,
dipper.
Jennifer, I'm so sorry. I thought you said something else, and I'm like, you probably had me lean in. I'm like, what?
Oh gosh, no, dips.
Dips.
Not that.
I saw I leaned in. I was like, what?
No,
I
the
like,
dips.
I like a dip too. Yeah.
That's my go-to at night. I wake up every morning with like a plate of
Yeah.
some kind of dip and
Yeah.
pretzels that I've put into it. So that's my favorite.
That's your go-to. I love that.
Yes.
And what are you most proud of achieving?
Oh, being a mom, raising three amazing kids.
Oh,
That will always be um, the thing I'm most proud of.
yeah. Oh, I love that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh, and what is the other thing? If you could wish for anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh, for anything in the world. Honestly, I wish that we didn't feel pain
Yeah.
because pain is really hard to feel and navigating through. So if there was one thing that I could wish away is that
Yeah.
we didn't have to feel pain and agony and those emotions. But my hope is that people that the reality is we do, that they learn how to cope and navigate through life with it. And that's what I'm here trying to teach and show.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what you're trying to do. Yes, so I
Yeah.
love that. At least you're helping. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And what I hope you understand is obviously you're in the States. You use this word or terminology. What is your biggest ick?
Oh, biggest ick. When people chew with their mouth open, I cannot handle it. It is such an ick for me. I actually have a lot of icks, which is really bad. But yes, that's my number one. That's my number one is people when you're chewing with your mouth open. I cannot handle it.
That is pretty grim. Oh, what's your other ick then? Have you got I'm terrible? Yeah, I've got things you don't like, or just like your shoes off when you come in the house, or
Yeah.
just little things like that. But yeah,
Exactly. I'm a type A personality. I'm a Virgo.
yeah.
So I drive my daughter and my partner Philip crazy because I'm so type A. Because they are not at all. So I think it's a good yin and yang for us in our home.
Well, that is a good yin and yang. Yeah, you got to have yin and yangs. It just doesn't work. Yeah, so I like that. And what was the last thing you purchased?
Oh, what did I purchase? Oh, I got a pair of Christian Louis Vuitton heels.
Oh God,
I
love that.
just got them 2 days ago. So that was my last purchase.
Oh yeah, I think like, oh yeah, that is like that's goals right there. Yeah.
I have an event in LA on Saturday. And so actually Philip bought and purchased them for me. But that was
Really? Oh, that's so sweet. That's like, how long have you been together? Have you been together a long time?
we've been together since September. But I was in a relationship for over 3 years.
Yeah.
That was and like it was toxic.
Yeah.
And I've always been a long-term relationship girl or married. And I met Philip and it's just like I knew like it just I can't even describe it. I just knew this is my person,
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Do you think now I'm going to go back to last? I've got a couple more questions, the quick fire round, but just that was really interesting. I know for me, when I didn't love me, the people who were coming into my life were the wrong people, but the right people, because they were teaching me to love myself. And I think for me, when your energy and your vibration is very low, I was very low, I didn't love me. And these people were bringing me up to my higher level of consciousness. So I was bringing in the right people, but I couldn't until I loved me. And now when that right soulmate comes in, I will know, but I'm ready, but I wasn't for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. My therapist said to me, our partner is a reflection of what we think of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I look at my last two relationships, and they were very long term, both of them, many years. But that was how I was feeling about myself.
Yeah.
So I do believe who we are with is truly a reflection of how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah.
And, I feel like these people that I was with in my past were here, and Philip's here. And now, it's just life. Life has been so good to me. And I haven't been this happy in a very, very long time in all aspects
Good.
of my life. So, and
Yeah.
I know your soulmates out there, maybe they're listening to us right now.
You never know. Yeah. I'm ready now, but I'm a long-term relationship girl. Yeah, I don't, I literally
I'm
it's
not a
years and years.
dater. I've never
No.
done the app, like the app. Like, no, I met my partner. We were introduced, and it was like authentic and
Yeah.
awesome. And
And
so, yeah,
real.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I'm pleased. I'm so happy for you. That is lovely to hear. And I think for anyone out there as well listening, there is like a cherry on the top of the cake. And, you might have to go through the tough bits, but you'll get there in the end.
Absolutely, absolutely, Philip and I were speaking last night. I
Yeah.
said, this book, I have all this trauma from the beginning of my life all the way through, and I go, but now I have a happy ending at the end of the book, and it's us.
Yeah.
He is that Prince Charming, that happily ever after for me.
That's like it is like reading a book, like you got the start, and then you got all the horrible, the hard bits and the
Yeah.
tough bits, and then you always want the happy ending. And I'm so pleased you have that happy
Well,
ending.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed. I truly am.
So with yeah, and what is the best bit of advice you've ever been given?
Ooh, the best advice. I've had so much said to me, but I think the best advice I have ever been given would always, my mom would always say, even when things get hard, that's when you really, dig your heels in the dirt. She said to me, she was a country girl, that little cowgirl. And
Yeah,
I really always did that. I never ran away from crisis or fear.
yeah,
My mom was such a strong woman and such a great example, because I watched her go through so much and she never gave up. So
yeah,
that would be the best advice, and physically witnessing that as well.
yeah. I love that. And lastly, what couldn't you live without?
Oh, my children. It's all about my kids. I could not live without my kids. We had a very scary thing happen on Friday. My son was in an accident and fell like 15 feet and
Oh,
had a partial collapsed lung. And it was so scary for me, because
yeah,
I thought, I just couldn't live without my kids. They are my meaning. They
yeah.
are my being as well.
Are they? And is your son okay now, or
He
is he
is. He's back at
good?
college and fine. So
Oh,
these kids are so resilient,
yeah. Oh,
Um,
thank God. Yeah. Oh my
yes.
goodness. I fell this is a bit embarrassing. I fell 20 foot down a moat on a first date. I had to get rescued by the fire brigade, the police, and the ambulance. It was so embarrassing.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I only had a couple of scratches. They had to put me on a stretcher because they didn't know. I was like, no, I'm fine. They're like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm fine. But
Well, the
it,
crazy thing is, my son's roommate was with him. He had to be life flighted by helicopter. My son was ground transportation, and they were fine the next day. Like nothing happened. And I'm like, God is good.
Yeah.
The other dads, like, these kids, this could have been like fatal, and they're like, oh, we're fine, we're great. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah. Oh my God. I always think the angels and your mum was probably looking out for him as well, putting protection around to make sure
yes,
he
yes.
was okay. But, it's a hefty fall, so I know how he feels. So bless
Oh,
him.
well, you went further, 20 feet. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness
Yeah.
you're okay.
Put it this way, the first date didn't end well. So,
Oh, did you get a second date?
we kind of we did talk of that, but I was like, no, he was a very nice guy, but he's an accountant, and it kind of just wasn't. He's very sweet, but just yeah,
But it
I
wasn't
think
for
that
you.
was too much. Yeah. So, oh, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. I've literally had the best interview. You're so lovely, and I love what you're doing and your voice, and you're making change in this world, and we need people like yourself, and I really appreciate it. And I think the readers, for the magazine, and just be so grateful for your voice, and also just lastly, is obviously we've got charity jump up for anyone going through any difficult times. But yeah, I know you said you try and like help us out there, or just get us a bit of awareness.
I would love to. I would love to help you guys out. And I would
Yeah,
love to come to London and
yeah,
attend your events and
yeah,
speak
please.
at it, whatever I can do over here and help
Oh,
raise money to help people in need. I would love to do
thank
that.
you.
I would be honored to do that.
Oh, well,
And
I'll be
I'm
happy.
also honored that I'm going to be a part of the magazine, and
Yeah.
May issue is Mental Health Awareness Month. So
Yes, yeah.
it couldn't get any better than that. And I thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, well, thank you. And I'm sorry for what you went through, but as you say, you're here to make change. And yeah, you really are an advocate. And I thank you so much. And yeah, appreciate your time. So thank you so much, Jennifer. And lots of love to you. And if anyone wants to read Jennifer's book, all the details will be here as well. But thank you.
Thank you. Again, tomorrow's not promised. Live each day like it's your last.
I will, but no falling down any more moats.
No more.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.